Good morning, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt, and with me is Olivia Grisham. We have our DHS TA webinar going on this morning, and we are going to get rolling because we've got quite a few updates to cover, and I want to give our CBO folks enough time to do their presentations this morning. So, first thing before we get rolling and pull up some screens, we have a poll question in the pod. We need to know if you need flyers, earbuds, flyers and earbuds, or neither. So, and then based on the poll results, we will get in touch with you and find out how many you have left. All right, we're going to give you just another minute here. Okay, Vivian, mark the poll for us. And all right, so let's see if, okay. All right, let's get rolling. So I'm going to just move this over one. So Olivia, do you want to fire up your screen and let's talk about the yellow areas on the dashboard.
Sounds good. All righty. So there's just a couple of areas on the dashboard I wanted to go over this morning. They're mainly the yellow areas. We don't want customers getting stuck in any of the yellow areas. We either want them to be in green or in red. So we have a couple of people in incomplete application older than 24 hours. This means that 24 hours has passed since their orientation and their application has not been completed. It was started, maybe they finished half of it and had to leave. So we need to be following up with these people and trying to get that application filled out and keep them moving through the process. They may have declined to participate during the application, and this needs to be marked on their intake activities if that's the case. So we just need to follow up with those 4 customers. The other is customer profile information needs finished. We have 2 customers in there. They're either missing their RIN or their case ID number, or maybe little pieces of information here or there. We just need to make sure we're going in there and getting their RIN and case ID numbers entered in. And then the next area is ready for review by DHS caseworker. This means they have completed the application and are wanting to move forward, and they need to go through eligibility review to see which programs they are recommended for. So we need to get those customers through that process. They may be coming in for a follow-up appointment, and that could be why we have 2 customers in there. The next area is need to be scheduled for consent. We have 17 customers who have completed eligibility review, but have not completed random assignment. So we need to make sure that these customers go through random assignment, where if they decline to participate, that is being marked on the eligibility review page. So we know what's going on with them, because currently these customers are just kind of sitting there waiting. And then we have 1 customer who missed a consent meeting, so we'll just need to follow up with them to figure out why and see if we can get them to come back in. And then I want to go over to the enroll dashboard and go over a couple of things on that dashboard. Maybe. Okay. So on the enrolled dashboard, the only area that you guys really need to keep an eye on is referral pending, no contact from customer, recommend conciliation. We have 109 customers who never attended their first CBO appointment. So these are coming back to you guys to follow up with to determine if they need to go through conciliation or what's going on and why they didn't attend that first appointment. And then we also have down here DHS review recommended sanction. We have 22 customers that have went through the conciliation process with the CBO and either did not show up to that process or did not agree to the terms. So the sanction has been recommended by the CBO for these customers. Do you guys have any questions about any of the areas that we've went over so far on the dashboard?
I don't see that anybody typed about that.
I don't either. So the next thing I want to go over with you guys is the intake projections. This is just kind of showing where each region is at with their numbers. You guys can only view your region. So I'm going to go through and we can kind of see where everybody's at on that. So we have Region 1, which is Chicago, and you can tell since their decentralization, they've really been getting a lot more customers coming in and getting them through that process. So that's really good that we're able to do that. Yeah. And then Region 2 is doing really good as well. So the blue line is the target numbers that we want to get at, and it looks like Region 2 is getting to their target numbers, so that is awesome. Good job, Region 2. And then we're going down to Region 3. This is Peoria. They are currently opening up a new office, are going to start working out of an office in Bloomington to get customers into Epic. So that's hopefully going to bring those numbers up quite a bit. It really looks like October was a really good month for you guys. You really shot up from what you've been doing. So keep up the good work, Region 3. And then we have Region 4. It looks like October's been a really good month for you guys, too. We're getting closer to our blue line, so keep up the good work, Region 4. And then we have Region 5, and Region 5 is killing it down south. They have way surpassed their projected numbers. You guys are doing really good. Keep working hard and doing what you're doing. So we're doing pretty good. We have a couple areas where we want to try to get some numbers up. But other than that, every month we are increasing the number of customers that we're bringing in and getting enrolled. So we want to just keep doing what we're doing and try to get those numbers to continue to rise. So good job, everybody.
Yay! So everybody, there's an applause in where the little man has his hand raised, so I want everybody to applaud for everybody else. Yay, okay, we got some applause going. All right, cool. All right, that's good. All right, we got to start rocking this, and I think we're on the way now that we've got every thing kind of functioning the right way. We've got some more laptops in Rockford. We're getting them a hot spot for their office. We moved some laptops over to Bloomington so that we've got the two areas in Region 3. We're going to get Beardstown rocking in Region 4, and Region 5 is just killing it. So now that the decentralization is going on and everybody in Region 1 has their pattern down pat, I think we're just going to start rocking and rolling with this. And we don't want to let up through November and December. We want to keep those numbers growing as much as we can. We do realize that with the holidays there will be some orientations that we might miss, but we want to make sure that we keep those invitations up as much as we possibly can. All right, I'm going to minimize Olivia's screen, but we're going to leave it open for now. And, okay, so here's your chance to mark the flyer earbud thing. So mark that for us so that we can follow up with you after the call so that we can get things ordered for you. And then make sure that you check in. For the invitation process, somebody put in there that they have a question about the invitation process. Just to let you know, based on last week's webinar, I spoke with Cody, and we had a screen share with one of the regions to try to see if we could replicate the problem. So if you have a problem with your invitations where they're stalling out on you, like you guys were talking about in the webinar last week, please call us right away so that we can get on it and try to replicate it with you on a screen share. We can't fix it if we don't know about it. So please give us a call as soon as you can and let us know. And it's with an issue like that, it's best to call one of us than to send us an email, because the emails don't get responded to as quickly as a phone call can. Okay? What I want to do now is, if you've got the question about the invitation process, please, and it's not what we were talking about, type it into the chat pod so that we can get that answered. And then I'm going to pull over my screen. And what I want to show you is here on the pilot program resources, this is the full list of resources. Just in the event that you need flyers, like Phil said they've been using copies in East St. Louis, let's go to your region and click on the flyer, because then you can print directly from the flyer instead of making copies. Copies to me always seem to get a little muddled, and so if you can just print directly, even if it has to be in black and white, even if you can print directly, they always tend to look a little bit better from printing directly. So remember, you can go to the pilot project resource page, EPIC Partners, illinoisworkers.com/EPIC Partners, and that's where you can get the most information for everything that you need. We also got the conciliation process posted, and we also got the completing a 2151A for the CBOs posted, so that they can now be completing that paperwork properly. All right. What I want to do is I want to go over the updates that we had. When you are sending a case note, you can still select the caseworker, primary contact, or us. But what we did change is that if someone updates, I guess I should probably close that because that's forever. If somebody updates a 2151A, the message will only go to the primary contact and a backup for that primary contact in the event that the primary contact happens to be on vacation. So somebody will be getting the message, and it will only be the primary contact and their backup. What we also did was for the eligibility status, if they are SNAP eligible and not receiving TANF, that is what the message will say. If they are ineligible and you update it, it will say, okay, it's not updating for me. There it goes. It says SNAP ineligible. Now, if you update it to say exempt, this is what the message will say. It will tell them that the customer is exempt. That just means that they can still participate, but they are exempt. All right, my screen is just going really slow right now. There we go. So it says SNAP eligible and exempt, not receiving TANF. So please make sure that you're marking whether or not somebody is eligible, ineligible, or exempt. Then next on here, we have on the profile information, we have a Category 1 or a Category 2 here at the bottom of the screen. And what we want to do with that is, if a customer on their application is reporting that they are employed, the message goes to, oh, Olivia, help me out, Category 1, and if they do not report employment on their application, it is Category 2. I put this out in the, is that correct, or do I have it backwards?
No, that's right.
Okay, so if they report employment, they're Category 1. If they are not employed on their application, it's Category 2. Then the other thing that we did was on the intake dashboard, everybody who was in the missed an orientation, so we updated the intake dashboard, this area right here, to show people with a follow-up date way far in the past to show up under missed orientation. That way you can just click into this number and go back and re-invite all of the customers. So we moved them all so that you can start the process over again, because I understand from DHS that you have to be within 30 days to be able to start the sanction process, the conciliation process. The other thing that we did on a customer's profile is, let me get there, on the profile details page, we removed the section that says update customer status. So you can now only update their status by clicking on intake activities, eligibility review, or assignment, or from their progress page. You can update them to exempt or something else like that. Ineligible, all those three options that we just talked about. The other thing that we did was, once a customer has been taken through the process, they've completed their application, and this customer doesn't have an application, so let me go to someone who does. So on a customer who has completed their application and has been assigned, you can no longer click on the intake activities to make any changes there. The one thing that you will need to do is you will be required to, before you can move to the assignment tab, you will be required to complete this section where you have to have the eligibility review completed, and you will also have to complete this section where you are doing the pre-random assignment questions. You will have to complete this section before you will be able to click on the assignment tab. So we have locked the intake activities after you make the assignment, and we have locked the assignment tab until you complete the eligibility review. And I think that's all of our updates. The one thing that I do want to tell you, I'm going to go back to a customer that doesn't have an assignment. So we have an application not started for Cheetah Ozaguwu. On the intake activities, we are in the process of changing this. We do not have the updates completed yet. We will have to test them before we send them out. But this declines to participate is coming out, and we are updating the options here for attended orientation. And we will test this and hopefully have it ready to go for next Friday's webinar to explain that all to you. All right, Olivia, can you think of anything else that we need to cover?
Nope, I think you got it all.
All right. So now let's go back to our agenda. I still don't see a question about the invitation process, so did somebody have a question about the invitation process? All right. Olivia, do you want to share about the success stories?
Yes. So we have gotten in a couple of success stories, and for now I'm going to have you guys email the success stories to epic@illinoisworknet.com, and I can put that in the thing.
I got it. I got it.
Okay. Okay. So when I get the success stories, some of them are handwritten and some of them are typed out. If they're handwritten, we will go ahead and type them out. If you can have the customers type them out in advance, that will be very helpful. And then we'll also need to know the other participant ID number of that customer, because when we enter them in, we're entering them on the behalf of the customer. And because it's all a pilot program and everything, we're not going to display this information, but we do need it for our records. We are working on vamping up the success story system in Illinois WorkNet. So once we get that vamped up and get all of the EPIC stuff included in there, we will have you guys submit the success stories online. But for now, go ahead and submit them to the email address that Dee provided, and we'll let you know whenever all of our updates are ready and everything. Do you guys have any questions on the success stories?
I don't see anybody typing about that. Marianne asked about the invitation process. Are union members exempt? I don't know the answer to that, Marianne, so does somebody else from the audience know what the answer to that would be for Marianne? If you can type that into the chat pod for us, I'd appreciate it. All right, I don't see anybody else typing any other questions, so I'm going to move on to our guest speakers from our CBOs. And both of our speakers this morning are from Cook County, so anybody from Southern Illinois that wishes to leave the call, you are welcome to do so, and we'll talk to you next week. If you do want to stay, you're welcome to stay. That's great. So now let me get to Albany Park's phone number. I got so many phone numbers on here. I'm trying to sort through them. There you go. So this morning we'd like to welcome Musa Masayani. Did I say that right? Yeah, oh, I was close. So Musa is from Albany Park. So if you would like to tell everybody, I'm going to pull up your website and your flyer for you. So go ahead and tell everybody about your EPIC programs. I'm going to pull the website up first.
Okay. Well,
so tell us a little bit about Albany Park.
Good morning, everyone. As she mentioned, my name is Musa Masanyani, and I am with Albany Park Community Center on the northwest side of Chicago. We service the Albany Park Ravenswood area. We've been here since 1975, serving as a community-based organization serving the needs of, as I said, the community. We have three locations. We're at 5101 North Kimball, 3401 West Ainsley, and our location, which is 1945 West Wilson, which is our administrative offices. And that is where the EPIC program is housed. The EPIC program is housed within our Workforce Development Center, where we provide job readiness training twice a month, orientation every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Everyone goes through that process. Currently, I am working with the DHS offices for reverse referrals. That's been our success so far, our limited success, but our success so far. And we service mostly the Uptown and Humboldt Park DHS office. In terms of training, we provide the patient care technician training through Chicago Community Learning Center, which is at the corner of Lawrence and Broadway. And that program includes certifications in phlebotomy, medical assistant, patient care tech, and I do believe it's medical terminology. And so once you go through that program, you are, CNA, phlebotomy, EKG, and medical terminology. And so once you get through that process, you are certified in all of those areas, and then we assist you in placement. Now, I have been here with Epic for a month, so I am working on the, if you will, the groundwork for the program, and I'm working with local medical centers to be open to our clients so that they can get the paid work experience and hopefully end up with full-time employment. So that is Albany Park EPIC program in a nutshell.
That's great. So I see on the flyer it says that you offer paid work experience up to 8 weeks. And that is that simultaneous with the training, or before or after or during, or?
Well, it is after/simultaneously, because if you are coming in without any healthcare experience and or knowledge, that is a difficult sell in a medical office.
Oh,
so
sure.
Currently we are looking at, after they complete that first phase, which is the CNA program, so that they have basic medical knowledge, then they would be potentially able to go into an entry-level position in a medical office or something like that.
Sure.
If that is not the case, then it would be post-training. So after they have their certifications and things to get their foot in the door, and that is for, again, those that this is a new career for. Currently, I have someone coming from as a pharmacy tech who is moving into this field. So once she gets past her CNA, she would be eligible for that work experience assistance, because she does have medical terminology and that type of experience.
Oh, great. Great. So now, did I hear you say you have 3 locations?
That is correct.
But you're doing the CNA training at the West Wilson Avenue.
Correct. That is Albany Park's locations, but the workforce development program is out of the Wilson office.
Okay. And so then you help them not only with the healthcare credentials, but you help them put together their resume. And
correct. So we start out with the basic job readiness training. They go through that first to make sure that they are suitable and that they're going to go to class and those types of things. And during that time, so from then on, there's ongoing job coaching. And so during that time, that is when, during those hours that they are not in class, that is when they're coming in, and we're doing career goal planning. We're doing resume writing and enhancement. And when we get to that point, we're doing mock interviews and that type of thing.
Okay. What's the kind of places where some of your placements go? And it doesn't have to necessarily just be the EPIC participants, but where have you placed some of your other participants who have gone through this training program?
Right. So we have relationships with employers such as Rivers Casino, Seafood City, which is a new Asian fusion market / restaurant. Gabe
Oh, I'm
Gourmet.
sorry. I meant for the healthcare position.
Oh, for the healthcare. Currently, we're working with Rush Hospital, which is in the West. I guess that would be West Loop. We're also working with. Oh goodness, it's escaped me right now. Give me 1 second.
I was trying to think of somebody's name the other day, and it took me 15 minutes, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
I just blurted it out.
Because I see I see it. It's in front of me. We work with Alden Senior Living,
Okay.
Norwood Senior Living, and again, those are with in the CNA programs. And so, again, that's where we'll be working with the work experience for the people who are coming out with where this is a new career. And
Okay.
for those that have a little bit more experience, we're working with Swedish Covenant Hospital.
Oh, very good. Very good. And then for your, who do you refer them to, or do you have in-house like ESL and ABE, the adult basic education and all that kind of stuff?
Well, and that is in-house. That is at our Kimball location, 5101 North Kimball, and that is where we have basically our bridge program, our ESL, our basic learning, and those are convenient times. We have day hours, evening hours, as well as classes on Saturday.
Nice. And so now if somebody comes to your main office for the CNA, how do you get them to the Kimball? I don't know how far apart your offices are.
It is about 5 train stops.
Okay. So
yeah,
you provide transportation for them?
Correct.
Okay. Great. All right.
We also provide transportation assistance for classes.
Great. I see that Nicole Taylor has her hand raised. Nicole, if you've got a question, you're welcome to type that into the chat pod for Musa to answer, because I can't open up your microphone. So I don't see her typing. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Musa from Albany Park Community Center? And you only have the healthcare classes. You don't have any other industries. Is that correct?
That is
for the EPIC program, anyway.
For the EPIC program, correct. We
okay.
do have. So in the event that someone is referred here, they're like, yeah, we just want a job. We can assist them.
Mm-hmm.
If that's how their DHS office sent them over. But in terms of training, we are in the healthcare field.
All right. And then other training that you might have available, do you have, let's look at your programs and see.
Well, in terms of, now that would be strictly in terms of employment. Now, in terms of training, it is healthcare.
Okay. All right, great.
Okay.
All right. That's great. All right. I'm very appreciative of you taking your time this morning, and I will let you get back to your WIA people.
Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, thank you so much. If anybody has a question for me, I will type in my email address in the chat pod there, and you can contact me, okay?
Great. Did anybody have an answer for Marianne Hertz about whether or not union members are exempt? We need to get an answer for her, and it would be nice if somebody could answer it in the chat pod, because then we all would know as well, since we don't actually deal with the day-to-day intricacies of DHS, although I feel like I could work at DHS and not have a problem right now. That's a good question. Marianne, are you still on the chat? Can you answer Rosalind? I guess probably exempt from participating in mandatory SNAP E&T. And then I'm looking for Megan Chandler. I'm going to minimize my screen and see if I can find her phone number on here, as if she's called in. And I don't see that. Olivia, while we're tap dancing here waiting for Megan, can you bring up the customer infographic, and let's take a look at that. Rosalind, I'm thinking that Marianne is referring to customers who come in who might be laid off union members. Are they exempt from participating in SNAP E&T? That's how I'm interpreting it without having the full question. All right, Olivia, go for it. Do you have yourself on mute?
Yes, I do. So I put together this EPIC customer infographic that breaks down the differences between a mandatory and a voluntary participant when it comes to EPIC. So I'll just quickly go through this and we can kind of check all this out. So the first thing is all customers must be SNAP eligible and cannot receive TANF. That's the most important thing. And then we go down and we break it up from mandatory ABOTs to voluntary people who choose to participate. So on your mandatory side, an ABOT is an able body adults without dependents, and that is our target group. They cannot be a TANF recipient, and they must be a SNAP recipient. And they need to be between the ages of 18 and 49 with no dependents, not eligible for an exemption. And then for our voluntary participants, there's just a list of reasons that that would make them a voluntary participant. So if they resides with the kids but does not receive TANF, they would be voluntary. For EPIC purposes, we cannot service anybody under the age of 18. So the under 18 wouldn't necessarily go for EPIC, but age 50 plus, that would definitely make them a voluntary. Responsible for the care of an incapacitated person. Student enrolled at least half-time on unemployment insurance. Exempt or lives in an exempt area where SNAP E&T providers slots are not available for active participation. Pregnant or physically or mentally unable to work, cares for an incapacitated person, in a drug addiction or alcohol treatment and rehabilitation program, resides with a child under the age of 18, employed 30 hours a week, receiving weekly wages of 30 times the federal minimum wage. So those are all different reasons that a customer could be exempt. So the difference between a mandatory and a voluntary participant comes down to the consequences they will receive for non-cooperation. Mandatory participants subject to sanctions for non-cooperation. Voluntary participants cannot be subject to sanction. So that's the big difference. We're going to treat them the same and engage them the same in every way, except the voluntary participants cannot go through sanction. And that is pretty much the big difference right there. And then the bottom part of this infographic kind of breaks down the study a little bit and what we're looking at in this study. So the total goal is 2,500 customers assigned to the EPIC group and 2,500 customers assigned to the SNAP core group. SNAP recipients who are work registrants will make up 85% of the 5,000 study participants. And SNAP recipients who are non-work registrants will make up the other 15% of the study participants. SNAP clients are work registrants unless they are, and then it breaks down different reasons why they would not be SNAP or work registrants. If they're under the age of 16 or over 59, if they are physically or mentally unfit for employment, if they are subject to and complying with work requirements for other programs like TANF, if they're a caretaker for a dependent child under the age of 6 or an incapacitated individual, if they are employed 30 hours a week, if they are receiving unemployment insurance compensation, if they are participating in a drug or alcohol treatment and rehabilitation program, or a student that is enrolled at least half-time. So this is available on the EPIC Partners page. If you go to the full list of resources, you can find that infographic right here, mandatory versus voluntary customer infographic. And you can just click on that PDF and it will open it up for you. And you can print this off and have it available in case you run into anything where you're maybe not sure if they would be mandatory or voluntary, or you have any questions about that. Does anybody have?
This is not intended for customers.
Correct.
This is intended for caseworkers to use. So each of your caseworkers in the office may want to have a copy of this. So if you happen to be an office manager that's on the call, you may want to print some of these off for your staff. All right. I tried to reach Megan, and their phone system is a little wacky right now, so I don't think we're going to have our presentation from Phalanx today. So I will add her to one of the upcoming. Oh, there's Loris. All right, so Loris, have you dialed in? Have you dialed in, and give me the last 4 digits of your phone number, 1086. Seven. 291. I'm not seeing the first 3. All right, so okay, so it's, I'm looking in here and I can't. Oh my gosh, this is bad. All right, so, whoops. I'm going to, I'm seeing, I see a 292 number, but it doesn't have, Well, you know what? I'm going to just unmute everybody, and then I just want Loris to talk, okay? So please mute your phones if you're not phalanx.
Your microphone has been turned
I've
on.
opened up everybody's microphone, so now Loris or Megan, talk.
Hi, Dee. This is Loris Cannon, Program Coordinator for the EPIC SNAP program. Megan Chandler, Career Navigator, she's also here as well.
All right, I see which phone number you are now. So give me just a second. I'm going to mute. I'm going to mute everybody and then just go back to you. Okay, are you there now?
Yes.
All right, this is a totally different phone number than what I've got.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so let me pull up your screen now. Go ahead and talk to us about your program.
Okay. First of all, good morning. And our EPIC program have 3 targeted training industries. And the industries are for healthcare, basic nursing assistant. That's an 8-week training, and the individual will be able to get 146 clock hours total, and that includes 106 theory and 40 hours clinical training. But before that, they will have to go through a bridge program, which is 2 weeks. And then after the bridge program, they'll go into the training. And then after the training, they'll do 30-day work experience at a work site, which is a healthcare facility. We also have a partnership with Advocate as well. And once they finish the 30-day work experience, then they're hired on. That's what we look at. That's what we want to see, that them for them to be hired on as a full-time employee. And with that, they can move up the career ladder and go from a CNA to an LPN and on to an RN for that career industry. For pharmacy technician, that's a 4-week training, but prior to them enrolling in their training, they have to complete, again, a 2-week bridge. And with the pharmacy tech, the individual cannot have an outstanding student loan. If they do, they cannot, they will not receive their license from the state. So sometimes, and we have had that to happen to one individual because they owe student loans. So he opted for a direct placement in that instance. But again, it's a 4-week training, 2-week bridge. After the 2-week bridge, they also have to complete modules because we have a relationship with CBS. So they have to go online and complete the modules first, and then they'll meet with our job developer and so on to the work experience portion, which is also 30 days. And after the 30 days, our hopes is that they are hired as a pharmacy tech. Again, once they receive their license, that we assist them with obtaining. The next industry is transportation, distribution, and logistics. And under there, we have forklift and CDL. The forklift training is a 6-day training. We have a collaboration with all of Harvey College. But again, prior to the training, they have to, again, do a 2-week bridge. After the 2-week bridge, they meet with our job developer and then go into the 6-day training at Olive Harvey College. Once they finish that, they do a 30-day work experience at a work site. And then after that, our hopes is that they're hired on full-time permanent employment. Now, the next one is the CDL training, and now that's a 16-week, 320 clock hours. And that training is also held at Olive Harvey College. Prior to that training, they have to, again, do a 2-week bridge. Now, that particular training runs maybe 4 times a year. So while they're in a hold mode, they are also engaged for 80 hours a month in activities until that training starts. So they're also doing career exploration. They're doing community service. And also they'll come here for maybe one-on-one with their career navigator for updates. Now, with the CDL training, we offer the work experience part the last 8 weeks of the bridge. And we do that because that's a long training, and we want to keep the individual engaged in their activity. And they also have to obtain 2 letters from a trucking company with an intent to hire as well. That's a requirement of Olive Harvey College's criteria. The next industry is hospitality. The food service training that we offer in-house is a 1-day training, which is 8 hours. But prior to that training, they have to do a 2-week bridge as well. And then they go into the 1-day training, and they'll also do work experience. Our work experience sites for food service, we have a collaboration with Wendy's and Advocate as well. And our location, which I failed to mention in my introduction, is 837 West 119th Street, and that's Chicago 60643.
And one thing I noticed about it is you're right next door to the DHS office in Cal Park.
Yes, we are, right next door to Cal Park.
So I've actually visited you guys a couple of times, and I haven't gotten to visit some of the other CBOs, so that was kind of fun.
Yes, we did have the pleasure of your presence here at St. Links.
All right, so now tell me how many placements have you gotten to make so far?
Our placements today are 7.
And how many, so that means people that have graduated from one of your programs?
Yes, they've graduated, and some are direct hire as well. So, and this is another thing that we run into when we're getting individuals from the FCRCs, is that the individual comes and the training that they selected, once they research the criteria of it, you know, they opt to go into direct hire. And some of the trainings that they selected might be too long. They think that they're too long, so they really just want to go straight to work and not complete the actual training. And that's one of the well, I won't want to say barrier because they do get employed, but that's one of the issues that we have when they come here. They're ready to go to work. They don't really want to go through, you know, some of the lengthy trainings. Well, they think they're lengthy, but they really just want to go to work. They need an income. And so we try to work with them, and if they're suitable, we try to put them in job readiness for the 2-week bridge. We try to expedite that placement process. They do a 2-week bridge, and they're placed in employment.
So one of the things that we are looking at trying to do, and we've got to get it approved through a different variety of places, but we're trying to get some of that work experience because Cal Park is asking our work experience trainings paid. And yes, work experience is supposed to be paid work experience. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to work on some of these programs so that work experience is happening simultaneously as classroom training so that the customer hopefully can have some income and get training so that they don't have to do just the job, because that's one of those things where if they don't get training, they're not really going to move out of the system. And that's what our whole goal of this program is to move people out of subsidized income. So that's one of the goals of our program. And let's see, Aurelia is asking, how long do you give an individual to be job ready? I meant to ask that to the previous CBO too. I believe Musa is off the call now, but Loris, do you want to give us an answer about that?
Yes, that's on a case-by-case basis because we have a lot of them come here and they, for whatever reason, think that they're job ready and they're actually not. They really need to sharpen their skills through our job readiness classes that we have here. And some we get, they're actually ready. So we would expedite that job readiness process for them so that they can go straight to work and or straight to a training versus being in a whole cycle.
We've had clients successfully complete the program within a month. It just depends on the customer's needs and any potential barriers they may have that prevent them from working. So some of the clients that we've had hired, they started maybe at the end of 1 month and they were done and hired by the end of the next month. Just because they, participated in the activities, we didn't have to do like any reconciliations because clients were not compliant. So if the client wants to work the program, it can be done in a month. It just depends on the customer's activity.
And their willingness to participate.
Yeah. I've noticed that some customers pick Epic because they think it's not SNAP as far as like the 80 mandatory hours a month. And so some clients we've had that come, they pick it thinking they don't have to work for their stamp. And then they find out they do, then they become non-compliant. But that's not with all customers. We've only had a few that's happened to.
So it's important that all of the DHS staff inform the customers that they are going to be required to meet the traditional SNAP ENT time requirements.
Exactly, 80 hours a month.
Minimum, right, 80 hours a month minimum.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so I don't see anybody. Oh, there we go. I don't see any other questions coming in. So I'm going to give them just a moment. Thank you both, Loris and Megan, for joining us this morning. I know timing was a little wonky for us this morning, but I believe we got everything accomplished, and sorry for not having the phone call number be there right away. It came up a really unusual phone number, so it must be like an outbound number that we saw. So
no problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. I don't see any other questions. We will follow up with everybody about their flyers and earbud needs. And I still didn't see the question about the invitation process. But otherwise, if you did not get a chance to check in, please do so before you leave the call. And everybody have a wonderful weekend and a great Halloween, safe Halloween. Hopefully all the little kiddies get to go trick-or-treating really well on Monday. So have a great weekend.
The meeting is now over. All the participants have been disconnected.